What's up? Welcome in. Hoge Jahns with you. Week 10 preview episode. Short week. Bears and Panthers. The nobody cares about this game but the Bears and Panthers Bowl.
No, it's a win-win game for the Bears.
Well, it's a Super Bowl.
If you want to call it that, fine. It's a win-win.
You got to win this game. You can't let Panthers get another win.
No, you can't.
But if you do lose, it's also not the end of the world.
Because you got those two picks right there. We can talk about that later. But yeah, win-win, lose-lose, whatever.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football.
It's Al Michaels is thrilled. He's so happy to be there. Welcome in, Adam Hoge, Adam Jahns with you. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. You can find me on CHGO. You can find Johnsy in The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns. Follow our show account at Hoge Jahns, and all the merch is up at HogeJahns.com, including that hoodie that Jahns is wearing. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that. Yesterday, if you're watching on YouTube, you saw us do a preview episode, and now we're doing it again, kind of. And we're going to have Joe Person jump on from The Athletic to give us the inside scoop on the Panthers. In all honesty, if you were watching live yesterday and you're wondering why that never got posted later, if you're watching live, you saw that we started late. We were rushed. I had to leave to go to CHGO and do my other show. And at the end of the whole thing, we were like, that wasn't worth posting. We didn't love the episode. We wanted to come back today and do a much better in-depth episode. Probably do what we should have done in the first place, which was have Joe Person come on. If you guys were watching back in the spring, Joe helped us break down the big trade between the Panthers and Bears. And honestly, that's a big enough storyline this week that we felt like we needed to have it covered again. So we have Joe on the pod today, which is great. I know a lot of people are asking about the big announcement, which is still there. We did announce it yesterday, but we should announce it again since we never posted that podcast. But we're happy to let you know that Josh Lucas, the former Bears director of player personnel, is going to be a part of this show going forward somewhat regularly, not every week, but to help us break down the rest of the season. And then I think what we're both really excited about even more so is the draft in the winter, leading up to the draft in the spring. He's going to help us do all that. So that was the big announcement that we did drop live on YouTube yesterday, but should tell you again because we never actually posted the podcast.
We might have some quarterbacks to discuss.
Yes.
Again.
And some of that, actually, I think we're going to discuss with Joe coming up here as well. But how about we stick with the current quarterbacks to begin with? And we're recording this on Wednesday morning. Probably maybe get some more clarity later today on what's going on with Justin Fields. Today is the only somewhat real practice they have. It's been walkthroughs the last couple of days. Today is like the equivalent of a normal Friday practice. So it's still not like a full go pads on practice. It's shorter too. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes. But I think Justin Fields, if he's going to play in this game tomorrow night, is going to have to maybe be listed on that injury report as full go today. And I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the case, but we'll probably learn more here in a few hours.
He was limited yesterday, and that was just the projection of limited because the Bears didn't really practice. And like my gut tells me that the Bears might try to take this all the way up to game time. I think you might have some gamesmanship going on here. But at the same time, it's a chilly, rainy kind of day here in Chicago, which should be a good test of the grip strength. I know he's wearing gloves, but gloves get wet too. If he can't hold the ball firmly, even with that glove, and if there's some pain, the velocity isn't where you need it to be. I know you and I disagree on this to a point, but don't rush him back. And if I'm advising Justin Fields, maybe come back when you're fully healthy.
Well, that's where it's that last part I think we disagree on a little bit. I mean, from the Bears standpoint, I understand not rushing him back. Although even from the Bears standpoint, if I'm trying to evaluate Justin Fields right now, I know I'm losing reps here the rest of the season. But you also want to evaluate him when he's fully healthy. So I get that. My point on Justin's side of this is the Bagent hype has sort of cooled, right? After all those interceptions the other day. 4 turnovers in that game. 5 overall, but 4 for Bajan. This is a matchup where I feel like I can have some success, win a game, which hasn't happened a whole lot, and maybe get some of that favor back in the Justin Fields camp. This is unbelievable, Johns. We're not that far away from this dude throwing 8 touchdowns and 1 interception over 2 starts. And then it was one game against the Vikings where he was not good, but the game plan also stunk, and he got hurt and didn't even finish the game. And like, it's like all of a sudden those 2 good games he had just completely disappeared. And I'm just saying, like, if I'm Justin or if I'm advising Justin, even if that hand's not 100%, I feel like he can go out and have a decent game Thursday night, get a victory. Whereas if he doesn't play, maybe Bajent's the quarterback who does that and gets some of the secret Bajent man, Mark Carman, singing songs again going on here. And then Justin has to come back against the Lions in a week and a half. And that's not going to be an easy game to have any success.
On the road, very good defense, very good pass rush. Yeah, not an ideal situation. I just think if you're Justin Fields and you make your money with that right hand, gripping the football, let's not make risky decisions here.
Okay.
This is longer than this season. This is perhaps about your next opportunity. If you further damage that hand, and all it's going to take is you throwing the ball and grazing somebody's helmet, you running out of bounds and slipping or something like that, even like on a slide after a great scramble, and your hand is being dragged across the turf. Can you get through it? And look, the clearance from the doctors comes first. I don't know if he's going to get it, but I don't know. It just feels like don't rush it. Like, that would be my advice. I know what you're saying, but don't rush long-term damage to your future, your throwing hand, something you need. This isn't like your left pinky. It's your right throwing thumb. Don't rush it, man.
Well, regardless of if they have Justin or not, the Bears should be healthier in this football game. With Khalil Herbert full go, listed on the injury report, designated to return from IR, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be activated for this game if he's listed as full on the injury report. Same goes for Josh Blackwell coming back from a hamstring, and Equanimous St. Brown coming back from a hamstring. I think it's safe to assume those guys will be activated by 3:00 Thursday. With the Thursday game, they can take this up to 3:00 with the roster moves. Now you have to make other moves in the meantime. So maybe it's possible they're not all activated just because of roster needs. But that'll be interesting to watch, especially with this. I haven't heard this talked about too much. EQ, if he's possibly coming back, what does it mean for Velus Jones, who's clearly got to be in the doghouse at this point? And I actually thought yesterday's press conferences, like Richard Hightower, special teams coordinator, pretty blatantly honest, bluntly honest, I should probably word that, saying like, yeah, that special teams penalty, the face mask, can't happen, dude.
Unacceptable, I think was his exact wording. Like, he's in the dog. Doesn't he, like, isn't that like his current address and has been like since the start of the year? I know I'm making light of the situation, but I don't think he's gotten out of it.
1 doghouse drive.
12 doghouse drive. That's
12. I'm sorry. That's better. Yeah. 12 doghouse drive.
I know we're having fun with this, but like, in all seriousness, right? Like, come on. Yeah. These mistakes cannot keep happening when your snaps are limited. You can't have like 13 snaps in the game and have one of them be like a major penalty in a major moment of the game. That's not a good ratio. That's a bad ratio, man. That's like, guys get benched for that stuff.
It's like plus minus. It's like plus minus in basketball, right? Like it's not the end all be all stat, but like over the course of time, if more bad things are happening than good things when you're on the field, that's not good, man.
No.
Like, hey, when we put 12 on the field, what is the end result of the play? Good or bad? Okay. A lot more bad than good going on here. And it was one thing for that to be on offense, but special teams is like the reason he's still on the roster, why he's still active. He is a good gunner, but you can't make mistakes.
Yeah, so
they're not getting anything out of him in the return game. So what's the point?
He was on the field for 13 special team snaps, and one of them was that major penalty. He was on the field for 10 offensive snaps, actually a season high for him on offense, but I can't remember. No, he had one target. That's it.
Well, that's questionable when he had that drop in Chargers game for his snaps to go up. So I'm intrigued. I think when it comes to these 3 guys coming back from IR, it seems like they're all healthy. They don't all need to be activated, though, just because they're healthy. So there could be some roster movement and games that need to be played there. But if Khalil Herbert's healthy, I am playing Khalil Herbert. He is your number 1 running back. He should continue to be your number 1 running back. I don't believe there should be a controversy there. You
saw me move.
Oh, man. You were ready to pounce there.
In my bold predictions column today, check it out on The Athletic. It'll fire you up, actually. It'll really get you going, I'm sure. Number 2. But number 9 of my 10 bold predictions is that D'Onta Foreman will lead the Bears in rushing by the end of the season. Your thoughts, Adam Hoge?
Well, does he? Well, he wouldn't be leading them now.
He leads them now?
He does lead them now. So you think he's going to continue to get more carries than Herbert?
Mm-hmm.
No, unless he's not healthy, I don't agree with that. I think Herbert's the better running back.
I think there's something to Foreman's style that endears him to the way the Bears want to play.
The style of him falling down in the open field?
I know what you're going to say.
Stop falling down on shoestring tackles. You have to be able to run through those.
But he runs through some things to get to that shoestring tackle.
He runs through like a 300-pound man and then gets tripped up by the 100-pound corner.
Wait, there's a 100-pound corner in the league? That's impressive. We should do a story.
Playing on the Panthers.
Full feature piece on The Athletic coming on the 100-pound corner on the Saints.
A little hyperbole in there, okay. What else do we got on this injury report? Oh, Brisker's coming back. That's good. Are the Bears going to have their 2 starting safeties in this game?
Yeah, that's good.
Eddie Jackson got through the game on Sunday. If you're looking for a positive, there's one.
Is Tyreek Stevenson on there?
Tyreek Stevenson's been full go.
Okay, so
all week with the ankle.
He got an X-ray after the Saints game. He didn't finish the Saints game.
I know I was surprised to see him listed as full when he was getting X-rays. And then it does seem like they're going to be without Tremaine Edmonds, who's been DNP the last 2 days. So unless he suddenly is limited and wants to go with that knee.
But your guy Jack Sanborn, and I think this is a podcast or a conversation for a podcast another day, but I thought Jack Sanborn had a really solid game. And I felt like I turned to Kevin Fishbane, like, are we noticing Jack Sanborn more in this game than we've noticed Tremaine Edmonds like all season?
So we had this conversation with Brian Baldinger yesterday on CHGO, and Baldy just straight up thinks the Bears made a mistake in paying Tremaine Edmonds. Not that Tremaine Edmonds isn't good, but it just wasn't necessary. Why do you need to pay $80 million to a linebacker when you already have an undrafted free agent who's more than capable of starting?
Just as good.
And now, I mean, there's some areas where he's not as good. He's obviously not as big. He doesn't cover as much area in the passing game when in pass defense, which was the whole reason that they liked Tremaine Edmonds. But like, this goes back to my thing where I keep talking about with the Lions. Just draft good football players. Like guys you just know, they're reliable, they know how to make plays, and that's what Jack Sanborn is. Just a good football player. Is he going to make every play out there? Can he cover all the ground? No. But he finds the ball. He gets to the football, and he makes tackles. So it just seemed like an unnecessary, and it's kind of unfair to Tremaine Edmonds. I like Tremaine Edmonds, and I think he's fine. But the gap in the money is just, it just doesn't seem necessary. It doesn't seem like a good allocation of resources.
Lance Briggs, he might know linebacker play, was celebrating Jack Sanborn's play on Twitter. So take that into context.
Yeah, I know he likes his Jack Sanborn. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation. Again, probably for another day, but it's a good test for this is always like, oh, this X player is not playing. Does it matter? And like, is anybody sitting there going, oh, Tremaine Edmonds is going to miss another game. This is a problem.
Yeah. Here's another one for you. Who's better at right guard, Nate Davis or Tevin Jenkins? I think the Bears might have something here with Tevin Jenkins and Darnell Wright on the same side.
Well, I agree with that, but I also think Tevin was playing just as well on the left side. And if Nate Davis is strictly a right guard, I think he's going to go back to right guard. And their argument is going to be, well, we're just getting our best 5 out there.
Bold prediction number 8. Tevin Jenkins will play himself into contract extension talks in 2024. Check out the column on theathletic.com.
Well, you why don't you just give the whole thing away right
It's
now?
too long to read here.
You're really excited about this. It's fun, though. I like it. That's an interesting conversation. If he can continue to stay healthy the rest of the way, I think you might be right. All right. Should we get to Joe?
Let's bring him in.
Okay. Joe Person does a great job of covering the Carolina Panthers. He's been on the show before and certainly was in the spring back when this big trade was made between the Bears and Panthers. You can follow him on Twitter at Joseph Person and read all his stuff in The Athletic. He joins us right now, Joe Person. All right, Joe, the last time I think we had you on this podcast, we were breaking down the trade that happened back in March between the Bears and the Panthers. You know, this is one of those Thursday games where I don't know that anybody outside of Carolina or Chicago cares about it, but between these two teams, it is actually damn interesting. I think the parallels here, it's an intriguing matchup. The fact that the Bears own the Panthers pick. Let's start with this, Joe. Just, I don't know how many months it's been. What, 6, 7?
8.
Jesus, time is flying. Okay. Where's Panther Nation with this trade and revisiting it, looking back on it now? This trade that went down with the Bears, losing DJ Moore, drafting Bryce Young. Where's everybody at with this?
Well, if you had asked me last week, they might have been in a better place after Bryce had kind of outdueled CJ Stroud in whatever that was, week 8. But then week 9 happened, and it was just like the perfect storm of Bryce having the 2 pick sixes against Indianapolis, with Kenny Moore taking both of them to the house, and with CJ Stroud having a record-setting day for a rookie in Houston's win against Tampa Bay. And the only thing that could have made it worse for Panther fans if Anthony Richardson had played that game for the Colts and had thrown for 350 yards. But yeah, it was a bad day. And so, yeah, I mean, I think there's a segment of Panther fans that are still understanding this is a relatively small window with Bryce. He had been playing better, much better before last week. And, but boy, guys, it's hard to and I've tried to stay away from these comparisons, but then when last week, it was impossible to look at what CJ had done and what Bryce did and just wonder what would have been different had those two flipped and the Panthers had gone with CJ Stroud, but they didn't. And so, yeah, and now here the Bears on the schedule holding the Panthers' first-round pick. Panther fans aren't real thrilled this week.
How are the Panthers, the team, the organization itself, like handling this? I mean, CJ Stroud's numbers are ridiculous. I mean, he's having one of the most impressive rookie seasons by a quarterback in recent memory that I can even remember. Like, what do they think of all this? Like, are they frustrated, or are they just trying to be patient with everything?
Well, as you can imagine, they have very supportive publicly of Bryce, and you know, they've already, you know, this franchise has already kind of done kind of a big reversal in having Frank Reich give up play calling after about 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I mean, that's Frank's thing. Like, you know, he got hired, you know, in Indy as, I mean, he's been a quarterback. He's coached a position. Like, for him to give up play calling was a big deal. And he insisted that the owner didn't make him do it, you know, which of course you guys remember Irsay made him change quarterbacks last year, which sort of was the beginning of his, beginning of the end of his time in Indy. But in any case, you just wonder if this keeps spiraling the way it's downward, the way it's going. David Tepper's not just going to sit on his hands and do nothing. And so you think the first level of heat will go on and is already going on the GM here, Scott Fitterer, just because he's been around longer. And then is Frank shielded and his staff shielded just by the fact that they're relatively new? I guess, but not if this not if 1-7 becomes 1-16 or 2-15. I think all bets would be off in that scenario.
And Joe, like, how much of the underlying, well, let me rephrase it. What do we know about who wanted who in the draft, and which quarterback they really wanted, and how could that also sort of, I mean, I imagine if there's any of that going on behind the scenes, that's got to be festering too as they lose games and, go on to watch the Bears use their pick this year.
Yeah, it's a great question. Here's what we know. And I believe this to be true. When Wright got here, which late January, one of the first that they're having a pre-combine meeting, Scott Fitterer goes around the room with his guys, his scouts, assistant general manager Dan Morgan, the talent guys, and all of them to a man. He says, if we go up for one, who do y'all want? And they all say Bryce, Fitterer included. And they said to Frank, Fitterer says to Frank, we don't need your answer now. Just although it's sort of like it sort of slants things, right? You say, take some time, think about it, Frank, but here's who we all want. And I do think Wright got on board. Listen, I asked him the week they were playing CJ, what the narrative, Frank, was that you wanted a big quarterback, principally CJ Stroud. He said, I never said that to anyone. I know that got reported, but Bryce is our guy, yada, yada. I do think Wright got on board with the pick, but here's the thing, guys. Not only was the GM and his crew leaning toward Bryce, then the owner, David Tepper, and his wife, Nicole, go on all the pro days, or at least I think they missed Levis's. I forget. But they go to all the quarterback pro days, especially Stroud and Young's. And I think they fell for Bryce. The idea of him being the face of the franchise, he's a sharp kid, all this stuff. And then I think you had the owner and the GM in Bryce's corner, and, Frank too at that point as well.
So if you're going through the reasons of like why he's struggling, is it just rookie inexperience? Does he not have enough weapons? Is the roster just bad? Like, how would you rank things, to get the results you're getting right now?
Weapons probably first. And again, none of this is excusing Bryce, but let's point out, they gave up DJ Moore, which they said they had to do. We don't need to revisit all that, but they kind of patchworked it with DJ Chark, who hadn't done much. Adam Thielen, who's done a lot, all right, 3 yards downfield, nothing stretching the secondaries. And, Hayden Hurst, they haven't really gotten him into a groove yet. So, but here's what's made it worse is the offensive line. Like, Scott Fitterer built up this offensive line. His whole plan, I think we even had it in the article we wrote, Adam and Mark. He wanted to build up the offensive line and then drop a quarterback before he dropped a rookie quarterback behind it. And they looked good the last year, not this year. First round pick, Ike Ekwonu, their left tackle, has taken a step backwards. Austin Corbett's really good at right guard, but he just came back off of ACL surgery, so he's not quite where he will eventually get back to. And so Bryce doesn't get a lot of protection. The height, here's where the height thing comes in. A lot of interior pressure, guys, and I'm not sure he's always seeing things downfield. And then he has been durable for a guy. We questioned his durability. He's held up, but when that pocket's breaking down and he can't step into his throws, that's when you really see kind of the size and kind of decent arm strength, but not great arm strength shows up, and especially last week with one of those 2 pick sixes.
So, with all that in mind, I think the view here in Chicago is as bad as things have been going. They should be able to get a win here on Thursday night at home. Of course, the Panthers did manage to pull out one of those games, but where are they? I know Brian Burns is out this week with a concussion. JC Horn's out too, right, with a hamstring. Panthers are banged up. I mean, what are the realistic chances on the Panthers side that they can come in here and get a win on a short week?
Yeah, it'd be hard to pick them. I mean, they're like signing guys off the street at this point. Blake Martinez. I don't think Blake's going to play. Excuse me.
Isn't he selling Pokemon cards or something?
Oh yeah, he got in some trouble with Pokemon.
Really?
Read all about it in the Athletic today, guys.
Really?
So, but here's the thing. They didn't rule out Blake Martinez. He showed up Tuesday, and nobody said, oh, yeah, no, he's definitely not playing Thursday. They said, well, if anyone can do it, he knows this system because he was with Avero in Green Bay. So that's the state of this team right now. Can they win Thursday? I mean, I guess if Chicago gives them some turnovers and, Bryce holds on to the ball, yeah, maybe. The defense did for all, all the Band-Aids and the MASH unit that it looks like. Avero is really pretty damn good coordinator. I mean, I get it was Gardner Minshew, but the Colts had been scoring points and putting up yards, and they held them last week to 198 yards and 13 points. Unfortunately, the Bryce gave them 14 points. So yeah, the Panthers haven't been favored in a game all season, and I can't imagine them winning Thursday.
Yeah, the Bears have gone from 8.5-point underdogs to 3-point favorites in less than a week here, right?
The last 2 weeks they were 8.5-point underdogs that moved to 9.5 by kickoff, and now they're against the Panthers to 3-point favorites.
3-point favorites. Joe, before we let you go, I'm going to Chapel Hill on Friday to go see Drake May as I continue my side job as a college scout, to watch his quarterbacks. But you've seen Drake May a ton in high school. What can you tell us about him, man?
Yeah, so he went to Myers Park High School, which is where my kids go. And I remember this is a story I've tell a lot of people. I think it was one spring. My dad happened to be in town. He's a big kind of football nerd like the rest of us. And we're picking up my kids. And I look over at this spring practice. And I think Drake May at the time was probably like 16. And they were doing a throwing drill where he'd throw kind of a deep out to the left. And then it'd come back and throw a deep out to the right. Boom, boom. And I just pulled the car over and I was like, are you watching this, Dad? Because he was putting every throw right on the guy's hands, outside shoulder, just terrific throws. I got to know the family a little bit, his dad. I mean, you guys know the story with all the brothers, but it was, you're watching him and you're watching, greatness at 16. But I didn't really think I was watching the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. I said, this guy's going to be a pretty good college player. But he's special. I mean, this quarterback class, I mean, who knows how it's going to play out. But you'll have fun in Chapel Hill, man. Have you ever been there before?
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Franklin Street, you got to go hit Franklin Street for a cold beverage and a sandwich. But it's a great college town.
Looking forward to it.
So if a Bears fan said to you, Joe, there's no way in hell I'm going to accept drafting another quarterback out of North Carolina in the first round, how do you talk them off the ledge with Drake May?
Well, I mean, he's got the size. and look, he's got the kind of frame it looks like to me that he's going to add weight in as he gets older. But he also runs. Like, you don't want him running much, but he can get out and make plays with his feet. He's got special arm talent. I mean, Caleb Williams, listen, I sound like I'm Drake May's publicist. I just happen to have watched him for a number of years. But yeah, I mean, it's people around here. Like he's kind of iconic in the Myers Park region of South Carolina or North Carolina. But I'll be interested to read your story, man. That'll be a cool trip for you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, so did they like pack his high school games? Was he like you're kind of saying he was like kind of a local superstar?
Yeah, so I grew up in Pennsylvania, which I think's a lot like Chicago, where like people really come out for high school football games. North Carolina and Chapel Hill's kind of this way, and so is this school where my kids go. It's kind of a wine and cheese crowd more than like a beer and brats crowd. But yeah, I mean, people, I mean, listen, he was committed to Alabama and ended up, which everyone's like, wait a minute, what? Because, the dad played at UNC, the brother played at UNC. Well, then Bryce commits to Alabama and Drake shifts to UNC. But yeah, it was fun watching him. It was fun. Then, unfortunately, the end of his career got kind of sideways with COVID, and I think he ended up enrolling early at Chapel Hill rather than playing whatever the abbreviated COVID season was going to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of kids got affected by that. Joe, always appreciate the insight. Thanks for jumping on with us. We'll be following you on Twitter at Joseph Person. As always, looking forward to that Blake Martinez story in The Athletic. And
Pokemon.
We'll see. He was making millions off of that.
Yeah.
So you're telling me he was like stealing money?
So Zach Kiefer with The Athletic wrote a really good piece last July. And Martinez was very open and was saying we've made $11 million in 1 year. And like 3 weeks later, like the house of cards literally kind of like caved in on him. No criminal charges that we know of. Excuse me, but this online streaming marketplace site called Whatnot, which I was not familiar with, they banned him. They said, that he would open up a pack of cards on the live stream, and then the guy whoever bought it would not get those exact cards. Martinez said yesterday that he needed to do more due diligence with some of the people working under him. Said it was a lot of false allegations. So I don't know. The things you don't think you're going to get into as an NFL beat writer, guys. I did not have Pokemon cards in the Whatnot online streaming marketplace on my bingo card.
See, if Bears fans want to get creative here, if Blake Martinez plays Thursday night, there's a real opportunity for some creative chants coming from the crowd. Like I remember being at a Wisconsin St. Cloud State hockey game when I was in college. And the goalie for St. Cloud State had been accused of plagiarism, and the entire student section's just chanting "Cite your sources," as he's in net, 5 feet away. It was brilliant. I loved it. So there's something there for Bears fans. You guys got to think about this now.
That is some highbrow trash talking. I applaud that. Only at a Wisconsin St. Cloud hockey game.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, as always, we appreciate it, man. We'll see you here in Chicago.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, great stuff with Joe. I love the parallels between these two teams, Johns. But to keep things moving and kind of keep the same conversation going, let's get to our 3 big questions.
Number 1, who would you rather be, the Panthers or the Bears? Joe and our guy, the Fishman, did a great job breaking this down on The Athletic. But what do you think, Adam Hoge? Who would you rather be, the Panthers or the Bears?
And also included in that piece you're talking about, they basically asked Randy Mueller the same question, the former GM who does a lot of work on The Athletic and The Athletic Football Show. And he was basically like, I don't really like either of these teams, but if I had to pick, I'd go with the Bears because of the draft picks. And that's where I am too. The Panthers are, look, both of these teams have some doubt and still some hopeful optimism about their quarterbacks. But the Bears are in a much closer to the exit door if they need to be on Justin Fields than the Panthers are with Bryce Young. And they have 2 first-round picks. They have 2 picks that are probably going to be in the top 10, if not the top 5. And the Panthers don't have any. So I think this is a pretty easy answer. Both teams have cap space, not necessarily a problem. Bears have more, but I don't know how many teams I would pick the Bears if we went across the league and asked this question, but this is one of them where I say Bears.
The best case scenario is still that Justin Fields comes back and plays well enough to where you're like, okay, I could use the second pick on Marvin Harrison Jr. and I could use the whatever pick on the best tackle or the best pass rusher. Someone who else, some other top prospect. And you can load up your roster, or you can improve your roster with blue chip players. So question number 2, Adam Hoge. The Athletics' current draft model from Austin Mock has the Bears with the 2nd and 4th picks in the draft. If that's the case, come April, who are you taking at number 2?
Who went number 1?
All right, so at number 1, I'll say that Caleb Williams went number 1.
Okay, then I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. As of right now. And I might go Marvin Harrison Jr. even if Drake May went number 1.
Okay, all right. I think I'm in the same boat, by the way.
But again, ask me the same question in January after we've seen these last, are they going to be 7 starts, 8 starts for Justin Fields? We'll see. But right now, where we're at, I go Marvin Harrison Jr. And I'd love the Penn State offensive tackle at 4 if he's still there. And I think those are possibilities because if Drake May continues this rise that he's on, and maybe even if he doesn't, we know how quarterbacks go. And they're going to go in the top. So like two of those top 4 picks are going to be those 2 quarterbacks. So if you're the Bears and you don't have to take a quarterback, you could end up with both of those other players.
Yeah. I just think, to me, to use the terms best case scenario, like for the draft, it's coming away with Marvin Harrison Jr., who is generational in terms of talent. We talked to Dane Brugler, the Athletics draft analyst, about this. You could pick holes, you could poke holes in the quarterbacks. Like Marvin Harrison Jr., no, there's not. Like, this is a special player, like a can't miss player.
Well, you just know he's going to be good.
Yes.
As good as Caleb Williams might be, you just never know with rookie quarterbacks. You just never know. And Marvin Harrison, to me, is the one guy okay, if we use that pick, we're good. We're going to line him up with DJ Moore. Maybe we don't have to re-sign Darnell Mooney, or maybe Mooney can still come back on a cheaper contract. Now we got 3 damn good receivers. Okay? I mean,
and a damn good tight end too.
Yeah, which is one of the probably should get a little bit more attention. How good of a season Cole Kmet's having.
Oh, can I mention the bold predictions again?
What are they going to extend him again?
No.
What do you got?
Now I'm having fun with this, baby. Number 6, Cole Kmet will earn an individual postseason accolade. Among tight ends, Kmet is 6th in receptions.
What does that mean? Like
11th
Pro Bowl?
in yards and 2nd in touchdown catches. That are all pro. One of those.
He should be at least a Pro Bowler.
Yeah. And like at very least an alternate.
I mean, in the NFC, what? You got George Kittle. Sam Laporta's having a great year, and you got TJ Hawkinson.
It's actually Laporta and Hawkinson who have the better numbers, just in terms, if you're just going off that instead of the star power George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkinson and Laporta are above Kmet.
How about 3 Iowa tight ends right there?
Oh, true. Good point.
Unbelievable. Good for them. But they still can't score points.
Number 3, speaking of receivers, let's set the over-under a 9.5 catches for DJ Moore against the Panthers. What are you taking, the over or the under?
I'm going to take the under.
9?
But if you had done yards, whatever the yards would have been, I think I would have said over. Does that make sense?
Let's go 99.5.
Oh, over. Yeah, I think he has a big game. I just don't know if it's that many catches. If that makes sense. Like it might be 6 catches for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I could see him going off in this game. Similar to Washington.
I've had DJ Moore on my fantasy team. It's been a ride. He obviously had the great game against Washington. Then with Bajan, it's been pretty slow. And he's not necessarily a must start every week, depending on the matchup, depending on the quarterback situation. But there's no way in hell I'm taking him out of my lineup when he's playing the Carolina Panthers. He's going up against his old team. To me, they're going to it's already inexplicable that they haven't been able to get him the ball more when he's your best player. Like, just keep throwing his way. Remember that's the 2 weeks with Justin Fields? He had a perfect passer rating throwing to DJ Moore. And then somehow they get away from that. Like, you just got to find ways to get your best player the ball. You don't throw a screen to Velus Jones with DJ Moore blocking. You throw the screen to DJ Moore with Velus Jones blocking. I mean, what are we doing here?
Does he have to be blocking? Can he maybe not be on the field?
Well, that too. But, like, just stop with the cuteness. You don't need Tyler Scott lined up at fullback, blocking the same player that Cole Kmet's blocking. And if there's a missed assignment there, well, maybe it's because he's not a fullback. He doesn't know his job.
He's a rookie wide receiver from Cincinnati.
Just stop with this. Just run the ball and throw the ball to DJ Moore.
Well,
I
think the Bears should be able to run over, just in terms of like activating the play action and whatnot. Boots, they should be able to run this team over with Deontay Foreman. Also, revenge game factor.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Keel Herbert's guy. Gotcha.
It's like, against Antioch the other day. Did we run the same play 4, 5, 6 times in a row? Yes, it was working. Like, okay. Come on now. It's football. It doesn't have to be that complicated. If you could do something, just keep doing it.
Yeah, come and stop it. There's a conversation I'd love to have with you on another podcast about the tweets after that game, by the way.
But, yeah. Well, maybe wait till after the season's over.
All right. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
But yeah, those were fun.
All right. Let's run through more over-unders. These are yours from Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. This is from Nate. Over-under on showings of the current draft order. You have it at 3, Nate. You got to put a half in there. I'm going to set it at 3.5 and go with 3.
Okay.
You get one right off the bat.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under, but it does happen obviously once, maybe a couple times. I mentioned this on yesterday's show too. I'll repeat it again for those that missed it. Amazon Prime opportunity here now. Okay, they have the next gen stats and all that, Prime Vision. So you could get one that's like the probability of where the Bears picks will end up being based on them like simulating the rest of the schedule. And then throw out the same exact PSA. My brain just froze there because I was wondering what we were doing next. But the same PSA, maybe a little bit more coffee this morning. The same PSA. Watch this game on the Prime Vision. There's a secondary channel. So when you turn it on, you like hit the down button. It'll give you the other options. I think one is to watch the game in Spanish, and then the other one's Prime Vision. It'll be all 22, and they show you the routes as the routes are being run, and it'll actually flash green when a player's open. It's actually super cool. So, and it'll be red if a player's not open. So I highly, highly recommend for this one game because it's available. You watch the game that way.
I'll have to check that out when I come home at halftime because I got a trip to go to on Friday. All right, Paul H. Over under Tevin Jenkins blocks that you can see the defender's soul leaving his body. 3.5.
Yeah, I'm going under again. I think there's 2. But on Prime Vision, you actually can see. No, I'm just kidding.
he actually turns into a pancake.
The soul, yeah. So maybe on the Nickelodeon broadcast they do. That could be something that happens, like where the player just turns into a pancake,
and it comes out like those the movies, those kid movies where the soul comes out.
Yeah. Do you know they're doing the Nickelodeon broadcast for the Super Bowl this year?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to have like a separate kids room with the Nickelodeon, and then also lock the door.
This is from Theodore. Over under on sacks from Montez Sweat, 1.5. I'm gonna go under, but he'll get one. He'll get one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under too, but I agree. 1. He does get home. A couple nice long arm rushes in that game, but not enough. He's been on the team for a few days. We'll see if he can translate more production into this one.
This is from Wayne. I added some more from yesterday's show. Over under on Whopper commercials. BK.
Oh man,
have it your way. 3.5.
I know that they're doing like a good job of advertising, because I think that and maybe Menards are the only 2 commercials where my son can actually sing the songs. So like they're doing something there, Burger King. That's a way over, by the way. That'll be like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might get some back to back. This is from Mo. I like this one. Negative comments about the game's quality / entertainment value made by Al Michaels. Over under 4.5.
Way over.
Yeah.
Way over. I'm surprised he's even coming in this game. Like, he couldn't come up with some excuse to skip this one. It's been one of the funnier storylines the last 2 years. It's just how uninterested Al Michaels is at being some of these Thursday games.
I think you're gonna get this is gonna go over in the third quarter alone. These should be based on half or quarters.
Like Al is phenomenal. He's had an unbelievable career. He's one of the best to ever do it, but he's lost his fastball a little bit. And I think some of these Thursday games is, sucking some more velocity out of there too. I mean, it's rough sometimes.
We had this one on yesterday's show as well. This is from Cole. Mentions of the Craig Counsell signing by the Cubs. Over under half. I know it won't happen, Cole says. I just needed to celebrate a moment of Chicago sports positivity.
Yeah, I think it does happen. I think it's a big enough story that it does get brought up at some point, and maybe even in the context of the Bears. Like, is Matt Eberflus the Bears' David Ross? Where they're happy with them. We know they're happy with them. Ryan Poles once again went out of his way to give a nice long endorsement of the head coach last week. But if the right Jim Harbaugh becomes available, do you look to improve? Just like Craig Counsell became available. I mean, I think it's a completely valid discussion that I don't know if that goes in depth, but Kirk Herbstreit covers college football now. We might have some Michigan news by tomorrow as well. Did you see that? They might have a ruling by tomorrow. So maybe maybe this is all coming together for the perfect over-under, brought to you by Cole right here.
I love the story by The Athletic, was it yesterday? Where Michigan's like, you know what? You're stealing our signs too, Ohio State, Iowa. We get evidence of that. Oh, man.
I mean, sign stealing is a thing.
Yes.
There were games when I was with Northwestern that they would be playing a team and they'd be extra worried about it, and they would do different things. Like, not every game would they have big sheets up blocking, basically the signs, but other games they wouldn't have those sheets. So there's some games they were worried about it more than others based on who they were playing. It is a thing, and it's not technically illegal. It's crazy that this guy went to the lengths that he did, where he's literally sneaking onto people's sidelines.
That's like my
unbelievable.
favorite thing about this whole story. I know we got a pick to get to, but if Jim Harbaugh just happens to become the coach conversation, this is going to be part of the conversation of Jim Harbaugh. This assistant coach being captured like on the sidelines of the Western Michigan game, like wearing sunglasses, I believe at night, with the hat on, and he's got the full goatee on now.
The Ray-Bans that have the video on them. It's fantastic.
Oh man. Also, like, how does that happen? Like, Western Michigan has to be in on it, I would think.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, he had a Western Michigan hat, a Western Michigan polo. He's on the sidelines, like literally behind the head coach.
But here's the great thing about the NFL. You don't have to steal signs. Just relay the plays through the headsets.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim Harbaugh. Could still hire him at the NFL.
Jim Harbaugh.
That's all I'm saying. All right. Should we get to this game?
Let's do it.
Prime Video, 7:15 kickoff. Panthers at Bears. The Bears are a 3-point favorite.
Bold predictions.
What do you got?
For bold predictions, I like that we're doing this podcast again because I could change mine.
Yeah, I'm changing mine too from yesterday.
Yeah. What are you going with then?
Well, mine yesterday was that I thought Justin Fields would play. And I'm not necessarily off that. I just don't want to say that and then have Matt Eberflus rule him out 2 hours from now, which I don't think he's going to do. I think the question is he listed as questionable or doubtful on the injury report? You think it's going to be doubtful?
I
think he's going to be questionable game time decision.
Okay.
And then if I had to pick one way or the other right now, I actually feel like it's Bajan. But so that's why I'm going to change it. Cole Kmet keeps his touchdown streak going, and he gets 2 more.
Ooh. I'm glad that you made this because legally in this state, I'm no longer allowed to make Cole Kmet predictions.
True.
I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson pick 6.
Oh.
If Kenny Moore can do it twice, Jalen Johnson can do it once.
Okay. So this is where we run into trouble where now we have to pick the game and keep all of it. Because I think I said earlier, DJ Moore
touchdowns.
DJ Moore gets 2 touchdowns. Cole Kmet gets 2 touchdowns. Jalen Johnson gets a pick 6, and the Bears score 20 points.
But these are different predictions. So you had they actually take some points off the Bears touchdowns.
We don't listen to our own show here.
You're not listening, Chris.
Yeah. All right. As for the pick, that I'm keeping relatively the same range. I'm going to say, I think I said 20 points yesterday, whatever, like somewhere around 20, 23 to 13. Let's say 23-13 Bears.
Okay. I'm going to switch mine from yesterday to 20. We'll go, let's go 27-16.
Okay. So a little bit more offense.
Get some field goals in there.
Get Cairo Santos field goals in there.
And that's the facts. That's 100% truth.
There you go. All right. Now, what happens if we're doing a post-game show after a Bears loss?
It's a win-win, Adam Hoge. It's a win-win.
I don't think it'd be viewed that way.
Lose-lose.
I think that would be problematic for some people. If you lose this game, that'd be tough. Before we get out of here, we want to play your voicemails too, because we know a lot of people didn't get a chance to listen to them when we played them yesterday on YouTube. So we put them at the end in case you already did hear them. You don't have to listen to them again unless you want to. I would. I recommend it. But for those of you that haven't heard them yet, here are your voicemails before we get out of here. Your voicemails from the Bears' loss to the Saints.
Hello?
Do you know who this is?
Oh, you didn't know?
Your ass better call somebody.
The Hoge Jahns voicemail. The Hoge Jahns voicemail line.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep.
Got any questions or comments about the Bears? Give the guys a call before, after, or even during the game.
Go Bears!
Hoge Jahns, it's Bob Dabrowski here in New Orleans, the Superdome. The Saints just missed a kick, and right now Tyson Bagent has 2 minutes and some change to go down the field, score a touchdown, and then end this game. Tie the game, maybe win it. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Next week is the game of life, game of everybody's life, biggest game of the season. Next week, Carolina, Thursday night. Can't lose, must win. Either way you want to put it. Let's go Bears. This is a cute little game right now, but let's save all the marbles for next week. Go Bears, bear down.
What do you know? Velus Jonesing. Tear down.
Hey there, Hoge Jahns. None other than Papa Bear, George Hallis here. Just took a little bit of a break from spitting in my grave to just be, I don't want to be a fundamentalist Frankie here, but does anybody tackle anymore? I wish my daughter would get rid of the whole lot of them. Anyway, I'm just going to watch Bagent throw another interception here and get back to spinning. As always, bear down.
It is 2:26 and Tyson Bagent is in for the game-winning drive. My wife and I are due with our first child today. If he wins this, his name will be Tyson. Bear down.
Hey, boys, I spoke too soon. I'm on my, too many whiskey cokes. Man, I feel bad for Bagent, but I feel worse for me and the Bears fans. Just another loss.
Our boy absolutely will not be named Tyson. I can guarantee you that.
So Ryan Poles was praising his coach because his team doesn't give up. And that's like the bare minimum. Does this group of people look like it's going to win a Super Bowl anytime in the next 5 years?
Every time I get reeled in just to be let down. You know what? The Bears.
At least we got a good culture, though. We got that going for us, right? Right?
Hoge Jahns, Bob Charleston. It's a cultural thing. They're losers. Loser's a loser. It's not a Bagent Fields, any of that. They're just losers. You got to just cut that out. That's it.
I'm probably going to be in the minority for this one, but I'm actually pretty happy with how the game went. Like, I'm in full-on tank mode, so for me, this was great.
Bold prediction. Cole Kmet touchdown. Count it.
Hey, Hoge Jahns. I was at the game in the Dome today, and Kyler Gordon sucks. Who does he think he is being Spider-Man before the game and then going out and having a touchdown scored on him during the game? It's ridiculous.
Hey, Bears fans, B-Man here. We lost another game. This is bad. I can't wait till Thursday. Let's hope Jesse comes back. Bear down.
Oh, I'm right there with you, B-Man. I'm going to be selfish. I want to see Justin Fields play. Is that too much to ask? You're muted there, buddy.
Now I'm talking.
There we go. Yes,
it took me this.
Now I'm talking.
Now I'm live. Now I'm talking. Now I'm talking. I am here. The second voicemail was George Hallis spitting in his grave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't pick that up the first time.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah.
No. It was George saying, now I'm just going to go back to spinning here.
Yeah, just going back to spinning here. Maybe somewhat uncomfortable, but also probably fair at the same time.
Clever. Halloween was just a few days away, or a few days ago.
Nice job. Still want to know what the baby's name is. So tweet at us at Hoge Jahns. We need to know what the baby's name ended up being. If not Tyson.
How about Adam?
Adam's a good name.
Great name.
Probably not.
First name ever.
That's actually true. Yeah.
And that's the facts. That's 100% truth.
Do you know that's why my name is Adam?
Because it was the first name ever?
Yes, and I was the first child. Yeah.
I was the first child too. I actually don't know the history of my name. Maybe they just liked it. My parents.
It's a good name. It's a good solid name. It gets you lots and lots of butt dials because you're first. You're first in a lot of people's phones.
That is very true.
Oh my God, the amount of now it that has cooled down. In the years now of more like smartphones, where like it's not like people are, pulling up their contacts and like at the top of their contacts as much as they used to. But back in the day before phones were, what they are now, I mean, I would say averaged 1.5 butt dials a day.
Yeah. It used to be so random too. Like for me, it would be like people I've talked to for stories in the past who ended up saving my number because maybe we talked a couple times or texted.
Mm-hmm.
But I got one a couple months ago from one of Mitch Trubisky's old high school coaches.
Oh,
I texted him like, "Hey, did you mean to call?"
No.
He goes, "No, butt dial."
Good old
All
butt
right,
dial.
have a good one.
Oh, you're out?
No, that's what I said. I said,
okay. You were leaving the show.
I said, "Okay, have a good one."
I think it. I'm trying to think if I've ever. I feel like one time. Speaking of this is making me. I think I butt dialed Adam Burrish once. Again, Adam, top of the list.
I made the mistake once. I have so many Patricks in my numbers, or I started a group text, and Patrick Sharp was in there instead of one of my friends, Pat.
Oh,
so that's happened once or twice.
You just started you had Patrick Kane and Patrick Sharp in a group text with your buddies.
Yes. Yeah.
It's good.
Whoops.
It's good. All right. We should get out of here. This was a good show. Glad we did a much longer, in-depth episode for this game as it deserves. Bears Panthers. They might make fun of it nationally, but locally, God damn it, this is the Super Bowl. This is it right here. Bears. Get that number 1 pick. Got to win this game. We'll see who plays quarterback. We'll be back post-game. I would say there's a small chance this post-game episode ends up Friday morning. We'll play it by ear. Obviously, actually, I should go ahead and say that because we're remote at CHGO. We have a watch party tomorrow night at Joe's on Weed. Come hang out with us if you want. Brian Urlacher is going to be there.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're pre and post from Joe's on Weed Street tomorrow. Check all the events. Go to the events page at allchgo.com/events. In the meantime, that's going to make it hard for me to do post game. So let's plan on doing it Friday morning as we
Friday morning it is.
Schedule this stuff right here live on the show as we record. All right. Enjoy the game. We'll break it down on our post game episode Friday morning, and we'll talk to you then.
See ya.